Welcome, friends, to another episode of Pintopinions. Today, as you can see, I made it out of the backrooms, and because of that, I am very excited to talk about my experience watching it, as well as some of the things I picked up on that I didn't necessarily, I feel, understand right away, but after some, you know, delving down in the lore myself, as well as, I think, watching scenes over and over again, it kind of helped me build a better picture as to what my perspective is of this movie and my thoughts on it. Before I continue, I just gotta say, spoilers ahead because I'm definitely gonna be talking about the movie in this Pinto Pinion / review. I first want to start off talking about Clark because Clark is such a very interesting character. We immediately could not trust Clark as a narrator because this dude is so emotionally unstable. When you involve alcohol, as he does in his life, prior to going to the backrooms, we can really see how unhinged he can get simply just by looking at the scene where he's discussing his past fight that got him kicked out of the house with his therapist, and just how that role play went down in that sort of discussion. This guy absolutely refuses, and we see it throughout the entire movie until nearly the very end, refuses to take a form of accountability on his actions, his decisions, and just who he is as a person. And I feel that's very much in line with how this dude is pretty much just a spider waiting for people and things, flies, to come into his web. And I feel that he has this weird symbiotic relationship with a bigger predator, which is also a version of himself, in the movie, and how he would bring these flies into this web. The thing that gets me to think like this is just how aware he is of it all. At the very start of this movie, we're seeing this dude look directly in front of the camera, right at it, even though he's talking to his therapist about all these things that went down, and we cannot rely on his narration. Can't. Because as you see throughout the movie, his perspective changes. The goalpost moves every time he's confronted by something that he either needs to self-reflect on and admit to himself, but instead, he can't. He absolutely cannot. And it's only at the last few moments of his life where he talks with his therapist and she says, "Hey, this is on you, buddy. You gotta figure this out, or you gotta fucking stay put." And he finally admitted that he can't move. He doesn't want to move. He's happy being in this web of lies, web of murderous intent, whatever it is. He's okay being in the Xerox of a Xerox world in order for him to finally feel like he can survive. And now the question is, where does it go from here? And I don't know. I genuinely do not know, because I feel that Mary is absolutely never getting out of the back rooms. And in fact, I feel like why we saw the still life version of her, as well as this thing, the back rooms, this living entity, or whatever this is, sentient, is able to see whatever it's seeing and then replicate it to a point where it's, no longer recognizable, or to get to the uncanny valley. But maybe that's the point, is to determine that maybe everything that's out there isn't what we perceive it is, and we have to owe it to ourselves to keep moving and keep exploring possibility of running into a version of ourselves that we find scary and completely monstrous. I don't know. But, I hear there's going to be another movie coming out, and I'm very excited to see that. So hopefully you guys will be too.